So today's guest is none other than Benjamin. Start of the year, he had about $5,000 to his name after spending 2 years jumping from niche to niche with zero consistency.
There's not anything else in this world that I want more than this to fucking success.
You're going to win them, boys. It's simple. You get what you want when you deserve it.
Fast forward to now, he's running a remodeling agency doing $70,000 a month with around 65% margins.
I'm in the remodeling space doing around 75K. That's like the top line revenue we did. And now we're at around like 60 to 70K a month.
And today we're going to be talking about how he went from broke, inconsistent, niche hopping to systematically scaling past 70K a month, and how he cracked the code on paid ads in a completely new niche and the exact constraints that he had to solve at each stage of growth.
Okay, Ben, welcome back to the channel, my friend. How is life?
It is good. Living
Beautiful.
life.
Well, that's what we like to hear. Give us a rundown for the people that don't know you. Who are you? What kind of agency you run? The whole 9 yards. Take it
Sure.
away, my friend.
Yeah, so I've been in the space for a while. Basically, I've been in a couple of niches. I've also had business partners in the past. Been running it in Denmark. Also been obviously running it in the US, where I run my agency now. I'm in the remodeling space, doing around 75K. That's like the top line revenue we did. And now we're at around like 60 to 70K a month.
Sweet, man. I know you've had your fair share of challenges. We go way back. I remember the first time that I believe we actually connected when you DM'd me on Instagram. You're like, me and my partner want a one-on-one call, which must have been at least a year ago now, right? Surely.
More like, I think it's 2 years ago maybe. It was like when you
Damn.
first started out.
Man, it was a while ago. And I know at the time you were just getting started in like the med spa / telemedicine space. You had a business partner. Obviously, things have changed drastically since then. So run me through, like more importantly, just taking it back. When we first had that call, I remember you had one client in a completely different thing. I don't know if you still have that client who was
Actually,
paying
yeah.
you like sick. So he was paying you what, like 3 to 5K a month retainer? Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, so we just had like one client that were paying us. That's like way back. We had, just clients in all different niches. Basically like how a lot of people are starting the agency, just testing different stuff out. And yeah, it was just a whole mess. There were no consistency. So I guess that was like the biggest thing for me, that you basically told me on that call that we essentially needed to have that, acquisition system in place where we could have one specific avatar that we were targeting, and then just scale that machine once it works. So that was like really deeply planted in my mind. And then like since then I just started like trying to crack the code on that.
Yeah, and I remember because you were in, correct me if I'm wrong, you were in med spa, then you made a slight angle change to telemedicine clinics, and you cracked the ads, I remember. And you had like a big cash month, but then things went south and you had a shit ton of chargebacks, right? What happened there? Remind me.
Yeah, so like we basically cracked the code in the telemedicine industry with like paid ads. So you helped us with basically increasing the show rates, how we could better like collect money on the call, which we even knew like we should do at that time. And yeah, then we hit like 50K a month, and then it went down. So it wasn't really 50K a month.
Yeah, I remember. And then, so from then you made the pivot. I think it was start of this year, correct me if I'm wrong, because I remember us having a few conversations about it when you first joined License and Scale, which you were like the second person. You got an absolute banger of a deal, I'm not going to lie. Like a fucking steal. And
Yeah.
you came in like, I think January or like March time when I first officially started rolling it out. And that's when you made the pivot to remodeling, right?
Yeah, it was really like perfect timing, because I just went kind of solo in my business, started in the new niche, and then obviously it was time to scale, and then I invested in the program. So yeah, that was like right when I started. I think it was in March I started the new agency.
Yeah. And now you're a 75K. I mean, walk me through the thought process for other people that may be in like the telemed medical space. Like, what was the reason why you made the pivot or decided to make the pivot from the medical space to the complete opposite blue collar industry, full of a lot of idiots, to be frank with you? What made you want to make that transition?
I guess at that time, it was just like the fact that I saw that maybe the grass was greener on the other side. I fundamentally wasn't like a great like business owner at all. I tried to just crack the code on sales, and then when we brought on clients, I wasn't really the best at fulfilling, to be honest. which I have obviously now solved now. So yeah, it was more because I saw it as kind of a better niche, but also at that point, I saw the cost per acquisition would be lower in that specific niche compared to the like in the med spa niche, which was over kind of saturated a bit because of like gurus have been promoting it, and when we looked at like the market size compared to the remodeling industry, it's just way bigger. So I thought I could have a lower cost per acquisition, also a higher lifetime value.
And I know you've like, to be fair, you've scaled up to 75K pretty quickly in a new market from March to now, end of the year. Walk me through the difference in how you've approached this agency as opposed to the telemedicine agency to mitigate, you hitting like a big month and then having a bunch of chargebacks and then starting from the ground up. What differences or lessons did you learn that have changed the way that you built this agency?
Yeah, I think it's just fundamentally like the business philosophy is like Ray Dalio was talking about it in Principles, that like a problem is just an opportunity screaming at you. So first with the new niche, I literally like in January I had 5K to my name, and I've been in the space for like 2 years. So it was awful. So I just had so much fuel to just, crack the code on the different, parts of the business. So the first thing was the ads, the paid ads, the sales. So I spent everything I had on ads. And if I look at my calendar, like from that start, like my calendar has been full every Monday to Friday, even sometimes Sundays and Saturdays from that month. So like from March to now, sales calls all day. So I guess that's like the biggest thing. And then obviously like attacking, a constraint every time, I face one. So first it was like sales. Next thing was then service delivery. So first thing was like, cracking the code on the ads. I guess that was pretty easy. Then the next thing was like actually having a good call center team in place to call the leads, where I just like sat a weekend where I didn't have the sales calls, went through your module on the call center, and it was just, amazing to solve that specific problem.
Speed. That's it.
Yeah.
That's basically what you paid for.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, got you. And I know like because I know in the telemedicine agency, you were very PIF heavy, right? You've run me through are you still doing that now in the remodeling agency? If you've changed the pricing structure in any way?
Yeah. I just see like the model I'm running, which is like more pay per kind of like appointment, as a more backend. And also like I just like more the fact that I'm working on a performance-based model, just because all of the incentives are aligned. If my call center team is not performing, if we aren't booking appointments, I'm also going ham. Where if you are on a retainer, it's a bit more easy to just like okay.
Yeah, you're just like client results. Fuck it, doesn't matter. We'll get another one kind of thing, right?
Yeah. Yeah, but that was more back then. I mean, now I think I could rock like a retainer model as well, especially with the systems presented. But I think it was more like also just like the thought process about the business like back then. Now where I know it's everything that I'm focusing on is obviously having a like low cost per acquisition, and then having the highest possible lifetime value, which is like the game I'm playing. And then obviously everything that contributes towards that is something that I'm taking action on implementing.
Sure. I love it. And run me through at 75K, what was because I'm sure a lot of people are wondering this, right? When people envision like a 50, 100, 200K a month agency, they think very slim margins. I'm curious to know what your team structure looks like. What is the average margin when you're pumping like 70K?
Yeah, that's actually, I think that's specifically for me a good question, because my margins have been really good throughout the whole process. I have seen a lot of agencies that are trying to outsource right out of the gate, which I don't think it's the right approach, because I think you should really master it. For instance, like sales, I'm still in sales, and I will be until I master it, or until I believe that my LTV can justify me stepping out of it. Because 1 month of me stepping out of sales and essentially mishiring, or me not having the skill set to actually manage as a salesperson, would really be able to like fuck me up. So my profit margin, to answer your question, has been around like 60 to 65% throughout the whole growth. and it's still around that range right now. I do need to hire a CSM though, which I'm in the process of, but maybe that's taking a 5%.
And they'll probably generate you more revenue as a result of that anyway. Obviously, with you being on a performance basis, I know we
Yeah.
had this conversation a few months back where you might not be allocating as much time and attention to upselling clients, getting referrals, getting reviews, all of which are revenue generating activities that the CSM's sole responsibility would be on, right?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, the CSM should 100% be able to increase my LTV, so it should only be a return on investment.
100%. And getting more into the nitty gritty of the program, obviously you came to the Mykonos mastermind. You also came to the very first mastermind in Marbella,
Yeah.
which was like, not even a mastermind. It was like, gentlemen, agencies, come to a villa. Let's figure
Yeah.
it the fuck out. Let's make some money. How or what do you feel like out of everything from the masterminds, the program specifically, what has helped you the most? Or yeah, what are the things that you maybe didn't expect to learn that you did learn that helped you scale so quickly?
Yeah, I think everyone that haven't been traveling and like networking with other people and also being in rooms with people that make more money than you is just so important for like just your paradigms, because it's like it's always like the your identity is tied to a revenue number. And I remember like when I were at the Mykonos mastermind, for instance, I was like, my mindset was like, yeah, like 30, 40K, I'm bowling. But then after that, you just felt disgusted with it, and you felt like average. And I think the last thing that, people, especially starting like an agency, would want to feel is like average. They want to feel like extraordinary and, beyond the competition, and like, yeah, just is an ego thing.
I completely agree. I think like if you can pay to get in a room with people that are levels above you, it's not necessarily even. Like, of course, you're going to get information that you can take away, implement in the business that will make you an ROI. But just by being around those people, that like Alex Muzzy has a good quote on this, which is like, if you get around people that are making an absurd amount of money, you'll feel poorer than the poorest person in the world, because your baseline just raises as a result of you being around people that are doing 10, 20, 30x the amount of revenue that you are.
And then I would say also, like, if we're talking about more specifically in terms of the program, it's just so practical, because you literally have been faced with all of the different constraints that you need to face when scaling an agency. And you can only grow to the level of your biggest constraints. So like a solution to every problem that I face, and also everything in the program is tied into the two metrics that matters the most, which is CAC and lifetime value. So everything is just tied into that. Right now, for instance, I'm building out the media buyer bootcamp, which is way better, and that obviously ties into more consistent results for all of my partners, which then ties into me having a high LTV. So I love that it's just so practical.
100%. And I know we were having a brief conversation about obviously where you're at now. Next big goal is obviously 100K, which you're not far off by any means. You could probably get there in the next 30 days. Run me through what your game plan is, or what key levers do you feel you need to pull to go from 75 to 100?
So because I'm not that heavy on like upfront cash, my currently backend is like probably around 50K, and then I'm collecting 25. I am just focusing on building like the best possible product to basically get to 100K, because if I just retain more clients than I lose, obviously then I'll be on track, and then obviously having the discrepancy between those two numbers as possible, so I'm netting a good amount of clients every month. So yeah, that's like the main.
Yeah, and as well, when you're on a performance model, like CAC is important, but realistically, when you're just doing a performance model, especially in a blue collar industry like remodeling, they're less conditioned to pay in full, like 10, 20K up front, as opposed to a medical niche. But the benefit is, if you get a big client or a big franchise client that has multiple businesses and multiple stakes, and they're spending 10, 20, 30, 40K a month on ads, the economics on the amount that client's going to pay you every month is insane, And the highest leverage thing you can really do is, although it is absolutely lowering CAC and bringing the margin down, but more importantly, how can you get your clients more appointments? How do you run better ads for them? How do you increase conversion rate? How do you have a fucking dialed in call center, really good systems, and a really good client success team who can resell those clients on more ad spend the minute they see a positive ROI?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, a huge thing is like also in the customer success like modules is, the basically setting the right expectations, and also like something that I have been slacking on, because when I just first like wanted to crack the code on sales, and then the onboarding call was just like access to Facebook, setting them up on the communication platform. But like if I joined the program and they weren't even talking about what my goals were, how we should get there, then like what? So that's obviously something that I'm implementing, and I'm like, yeah, in the last month I've been kind of building that whole structure out, so I have all of the things ready for when I onboard as CSM.
Oh, well, man, it was a pleasure having you on. I think that's pretty much everything. Let's get you to 100K.
Yes, sir.
30 days.
Yes, baby.
Peace. Have a good one.
Peace.